In this video, let's go ahead and practice subtracting fractions that have uncommon denominators together. Another way of saying that we are going to be subtracting is that we're going to be finding the difference between two fractions, and we're going to go ahead and make sure that we simplify when possible. Alright, so for number one, notice how we have this fraction of 7/9 and we have 1/6, so they have different denominators, so we can't subtract them just yet. So we have different denominators of 9 and 6, and we're going to see if we can find the least common denominator or the least common multiple of 9 and 6. To do that, we're going to say that 3 is a common factor of 9. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 2 is 6. Then 3 and 2 have nothing else in common. So if you go ahead and multiply these numbers on the outside here, 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 2 is going to be 18. Then we know that the least common multiple of 9 and 6, or the least common denominator here, is going to be 18. That being said, we should be able to rewrite these two fractions using 18ths instead. So we have the 7/9 and we have 1/6. Now let's see, how can we make this 18? This one's going to be times 2 over 2, and this one's going to be times 3 over 3. So 7 times 2 is going to be 14, so we have 14 over that 18. And we're going to go ahead and subtract, let's see, 1 times 3 is going to be 3, so we have 3 over 18. Now that we have these common denominators of 18, we can go ahead and combine these two fractions using just one fraction bar. So 14 minus 3, that's going to be 11. So our final difference here is just going to be 11/18, and that'll be our final answer. Taking a look at number 2, we have 1/2 take away 1/4, so we have different denominators here. So when do 2 and 4 meet for the first time? Well, as a common factor for 2 and 4, I think we can say 2. 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times 2 is 4, and I think that's it. So we can go ahead and say here that 2 times 1 is 2, times 2 is 4. So the least common denominator here is going to be 4. So one of these denominators is already 4, which is nice, so we don't really have to do anything to that one. But the other one we do have to change here. So to get 2 to become 4, let's do times 2 times 2. And we don't have to write this, but I'm going to write times 1 times 1. Our newly written fractions are going to be 2/4. And then we're going to go ahead and take away 1 times 1, which is going to be 1/4. That's just going to stay the same. But we do have common denominators here of fourths. So we can go ahead and subtract here. In the numerator, it's just going to be 2 minus 1, which is just going to be 1. So 1/4 is going to be our difference. Let's take a look at number 3. For number 3, we have the fraction 8/9 and 2/3. So we have two different denominators of 9 and 3. Let's see if we can go ahead and make them the same the first time they're going to meet. Common factor of 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 1 is 3. I think that's it. If we go ahead and multiply these numbers on the outside, 3 times 3 is 9, times 1 is still 9. So the first time 9 and 3 are going to meet is going to be at 9. Let's go ahead and take our two fractions. We have 8/9, take away 2/3. And let's see, if we want to make them both 9 on the bottom, let's leave this first one alone or multiply it by 1 over 1. And for the 3, let's multiply by 3 over 3. If we do that, we're going to have 8/9. That's just going to stay the same, but we do have that common denominator. Minus 2 times 3 is 6, so we're going to have 6 over 9. So we essentially have common denominators here, so we have 8 over 9 minus 6 over 9. Let's put it both over 9. So we have 8 minus 6, which is just equal to 2. So our final answer here is going to be 2/9. For number 4, we have 5/8 and 1/6. So once again, different denominators. That's what we're kind of practicing here. Let's see the first time 8 and 6 meet so we can get the least common denominator. A common factor for 8 and 6 is going to be 2. They're both even numbers. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 3 is 6. I think we can't go any further here. 4 and 3 are relatively prime. So 2 times 4 is 8, times 3 is 24. So the first time 8 and 6 meet, or the LCD, is going to be at 24. So let's go ahead and rewrite these two fractions. We have 5/8 now. We're taking away 1/6, but let's go ahead and make these both over 24. Let's multiply this one by 3 over 3 and this fraction by 4 over 4. So our newly written fractions, 5 times 3, that's going to be 15. So we have 15/24. Let's go ahead and take away 1 times 4, that's going to be 4. So it's going to be 4/24. Alrighty, so we have common denominators now, which is great. We can go ahead and subtract. So we can go ahead and say it says 15 minus 4. 15 minus 4 is going to be 11. So I think we're going to have 11/24 for our most simplified difference here. Here's number 5. For number 5, we have 7/10, and we're going to be taking away 2/5 here. So different denominators. When do 10 and 5 meet for the first time? let's go ahead and see and figure that out. A common factor here is just going to be 5. 5 times 2 is 10, and 5 times 1 is going to be 5. And I think that's it. If we go to multiply these on the outside, 5 times 2 is 10, times 1 is still 10. So the first time 5 and 10 meet, hopefully that makes sense, is going to be at 10. So let's go ahead and rewrite our fraction. So we have 7/10. We're going to be taking away 2/5 here. We want both denominators to be 10, so let's leave this first one alone by multiplying it by 1 over 1. Then we can multiply the second fraction by 2 over 2. 7 times 1 is 7, so we have 7 over 10. That fraction stayed the same. The second fraction, let's see, it's going to be 2 times 2, which is 4, so it's going to be 4 over this 10. Great, we have common denominators of 10, so we can go ahead and subtract the numerators. So we have 7 minus 4 on top. That's going to be equal to 3. So our answer here is going to be 3/10. For number 6, we have 7/12 and then we have 1/3. So we have different denominators. When do 12 and 3 meet for the first time? So we can get our least common denominator. Well, 12 and 3 looks like 3 goes into both. 3 goes into 12 4 times, 3 goes into 3 1 time, and I think that's it. So let's see. I think the first time they're going to meet is just going to be at 12. So the least common denominator here is just 12. And hopefully that makes sense because 3 is the factor of 12, or 12 is a multiple of 3. So let's see, let's take this 7/12 and rewrite that here. Take away 1/3. To get common denominators of 12, to get 12, this one's just going to stay the same. To get 12, we're going to multiply by 4 over 4. If we do that, 7 times 1 is going to be 7, so we're going to get 7 over 12. And then we're going to take away 1 times 4, which is going to be 4 over 12. Alright, so we do have common denominators now, so we can go ahead and subtract using the 12 as our common denominator. On top we have 7 minus 4, and something interesting is going to happen that we haven't done in the previous ones, but 7 minus 4 is going to be 3. So we're going to get 3 over 12, but notice that 3 and 12 actually have a common factor, so we can actually simplify this by dividing by their greatest common factor, or GCF of 3. So we can say our most simplified answer here is going to be 1/4. For number 7, we have the fraction 7/12 again, but this time we're taking away 4/9. So we have our denominators of 12 and 9, which are different. So let's see if we can make them the same. Let's see, 3 is a common factor. 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 3 is 9. And then 4 and 3 have nothing else in common, so we can stop there. If we multiply down here, 3 times 4 is 12, times 3 is 36. So the least common denominator, least common multiple for 12 and 9 is going to be 36. So that's the smallest number we can use for a common denominator. So let's do 7 over 12. Let's take away 4/9. And let's see, to get common denominators here, 12 is going to multiply by 3. So let's do times 3 over 3. 9 is going to multiply by 4. So let's do times 4 over 4. So 7 times 3 is going to be 21. So it's 21 over 36. That's that LCD. Minus, and then 4 times 4, it's going to be 16 over 36. Alrighty, so we have common denominators of 36. Let's go ahead and keep that on the bottom. And let's go ahead and subtract 21 minus 16 on top. 21 minus 16 is 5, so we're going to get our final answer of 5 over 36. For number 8, we have 4/5 minus 2/7. So again, let's go ahead and see if we can find out when these two numbers meet for the first time. Now 5 and 7 have nothing in common, so we're just going to have this 1, 5, and 7 on the outside here. And when they had nothing in common, or their GCF was 1, you really can just multiply 5 times 7 together to get the LCD, which is going to be 35. Okay, so let's go ahead and rewrite these fractions. We have 4/5, and we have minus this 2/7. To get that 35, let's just do times 7 times 7. Then let's do times 5 times 5. Kind of takes the thinking out of it a little bit when they have no common factors. 7 times 4 is 28, so we have 28 over 35. And then we're going to go ahead and take away 2 times 5, which is 10, so we have 10 over 35. All right, so we have common denominators of 35. Let's go ahead and put that 35 on bottom. 28 minus 10 is going to be 18, and this will be our final answer, 18 over 35. Here's number 9. All right, for number 9, we have the fractions 7/9 and 1/6. Let's see when 9 and 6 meet for the first time. 9 and 6 have a common factor of 3, so let's put that on the outside here. 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 times 2 is 6. And I think 3 and 2 are relatively prime, so we can stop. On the outside, 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 2 is 18. So the first time 9 and 6 meet are going to be at 18. So let's take the 7/9, let's take away the 1/6. So let's go ahead and rewrite these fractions using that 18. So let's use times 2 times 2. Let's do times 3 times 3. 7 times 2 is going to be 14. So we're going to have 14 over this 18. And then we're going to take away 1 times 3, which is going to be 3 over the 18. We have common denominators of 18. So let's just go ahead and combine this into one fraction. And we have 14 minus 3, which is 11. So we're going to have a final answer of 11 over 18. Moving on, if we go ahead and take a look at number 10, we have fourths on bottom, 7/4, and then we have thirds, so 2/3. When do 4 and 3 meet for the first time? Well, 4 and 3 are relatively prime, or their GCF is 1, so we can just go ahead and multiply these outside numbers of 1 times 4 times 3, or just do 4 times 3, right? And so we're going to find out that LCD is going to be 12 here. So let's go ahead and rewrite these fractions. We have 7/4 minus the 2/3. Let's go ahead and make these fractions into 12ths. We can do times 3 times 3. Then we can do times 4 times 4. If we do that, 7 times 3 is going to be 21. So we're going to have 21 over this 12. And then we're going to take away 2 times 4, which is what? That's going to be 8. So we're going to have 8 over 12. Alrighty, so we have common denominators here of 12. Let's go ahead and put that on the bottom and subtract the numerators of 21 minus 8, which is 13. So we can say 13 over 12 would be our final answer. But if you also want to write it as a mixed number, you can say this is going to be 1 and 1/12, and that would be working as well. For number 11, we have 9/4 minus 5/6. So our denominators are 4 and 6. They're different, so let's go ahead and see if we can find out something in common here. So they have 2 in common. 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6. Then I think if we multiply 2 times 2, which is 4, 4 times 3 is going to be 12. And the first time these numbers are going to meet are going to be at 12. All right, so let's go ahead and rewrite these fractions. We have 9/4 minus 5/6. To get these denominators to be 12, let's do times 3 times 3. Let's do times 2 times 2. 9 times 3 is 27, so we're going to have 27 over 12. And let's go ahead and subtract here. 5 times 2 is going to be 10 over 12. All right, so we have common denominators of 12. Let's go ahead and just subtract their numerators. So that's going to be 27 minus 10. 27 minus 10 is 17, so we're going to have 17 over 12. That's going to be our final answer as an improper, but as a mix, this is 1 and 5/12. For number 12, we have 11 over 8, and then we have 5 over 6. So let's see if we can find out 8 and 6 when they meet for the first time. They do have a common factor of 2. 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 times 3 is 6. I think that's it. Then I think we can multiply these on the outside. So 2 times 4 is 8, times 3 is 24. So the first time these numbers meet is going to be at 24. We can go ahead and take 11 over 8 minus this 5 over 6. To get 24, let's do times 3 times 3 and times 4 times 4. 11 times 3 is going to be 33, so we're going to have 33 over 24. And then 5 times 4 is going to be 20, so we're going to have 20 over 24. Now we have common denominators of 24. Let's go ahead and put that on bottom. And on top, we're going to have 33 minus 20. 33 minus 20 is going to be 13, so 13 over 24 is going to be our final answer here. Here's number 13. All right, for number 13, we have 14 over 9 minus 5 over 6. Let's see, 6 and 9 when they meet for the first time. Let's see, they have a common factor of 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 2 is 6. If we go ahead and multiply these outside numbers here, 3 times 3 is 9, times 2 is 18. So the first time 9 and 6 meet is going to be at 18. So let's go ahead and rewrite these. We have 14 over 9 minus the 5 over 6. To get 18, let's do times 2 times 2. And let's do times 3 times 3. 14 times 2 is going to be 28, so we're going to have 28 over 18. And then we're going to subtract what? 5 times 3 is 15, so we're going to have 15 over 18. All right, so let's go ahead and put these both over 18. And then on top, let's take 28 and then subtract the 15. 28 minus 15, I believe, is 13. So our final answer here is going to be 13 over 18. For number 14, we have 13 over 10, take away 5 over 8. So our denominators are 10 and 8. but when do they meet for the first time? Let's see, they have a common factor of 2. 2 times 5 is 10, and 2 times 4 is 8. They have nothing else in common, so if we multiply 2 times 5 is 10, times 4 is 40, then the first time 10 and 8 are going to meet are going to be at 40. All right, so we have 13 over 10 minus this 5 over 8, and we want to get to 40, so let's do times 4 times 4. Let's do times 5 times 5. If we do that 13 times 4, that's going to be 52. So we're going to have 52 over 40. And let's go ahead and take away 5 times 5, which is 25 over 40. Alrighty, so we have common denominators of 40. So let's go ahead and put 40 on the bottom here. And on top, let's go ahead and take that 52 and subtract that 25. Now, 52 minus 25 is going to be 27. So our final answer is going to be 27 over 40. Alrighty, cool. Last couple, let's check out 15 and 16. For number 15, we have 6/7, and we're taking away 2/3. 7 and 3, let's see the first time these numbers meet. I think they're both prime, right? So they have nothing in common. So the first time they meet are just going to be 7 times 3. You can ignore that 1, doesn't really make a difference. So the first time 7 and 3 meet are going to be at 21. All right, so we have 6 over 7 minus this 2 over 3. To get to 21, we just multiply by 3 over 3, and we're going to multiply by 7 over 7. 6 times 3 is going to be 18, so it's going to be 18 over 21. And then we're going to go ahead and take away 2 times 7, which is going to be 14 over 21. Now we have common denominators of 21, so let's go ahead and put that on the bottom here. And we can combine this and say 18 minus 14. 18 minus 14 is 4, so we're going to get this fraction of 4 over 21. And last problem, we have 7/12, and we're going to take away 3/8. So we have different denominators here. Let's see when 12 and 8 are going to meet for the first time. I think they have a common factor of 4. 4 times 3 is 12, and 4 times 2 is 8. Now let's go ahead and multiply these because I think they have nothing else in common. If we multiply 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 is 24, then the first time these numbers meet is going to be at 24. Let's go ahead and rewrite these using that common denominator. So you have 7/12 minus a 3/8. To get 24, let's do times 2 times 2. Let's do times 3 times 3. 7 times 2 is going to be 14, so we're going to have 14 over that 24. And then over here, 3 times 3, that's going to be 9, so we're going to have 9 over that 24. All right, so let's go ahead and now combine these now that we have these common denominators of 24. So we have 24, and then we have 14 minus 9, so the difference of those are going to be 5. So our final answer here is going to be 5 over 24. Alrighty, so there you have 16 different practice problems on subtracting fractions that have uncommon denominators or unlike denominators. So make sure you always make those denominators the same using the LCD, which is pretty advantageous. And then you can go ahead and subtract the numerators and then simplify when possible. If you found the video helpful, please consider giving it a thumbs up and sharing with a classmate or friend who might also find it helpful. And as always, keep up the great work that you're already doing, and I'll see you in the next one.